All right. Without any further ado, let me briefly introduce our speaker today. Phyllis Khare is a friend and from Fairfield. So she upgraded to Fairfield after being born in Augusta, Georgia, and spending some time in Florida. And now she's here in this wonderful community. She's one of the original authors of Facebook Marketing All-in-One for Dummies, first and second edition, along with Andrea Val and Amy Porterfield. I hope I pronounced their names correctly. She's also the author of Social Media Marketing E-Learning Kit for Dummies and has contributed to several other books like that. She's co-founded Social Media Manager School with Andrea Val, teaching thousands of people all over the world how to be professional social media marketers and managers, and the school was acquired by Agora Pulse in January 2020. She developed a highly acclaimed time management program for entrepreneurs that has, from what people tell her, transformed their lives. She has sunsetted on that online training program, but continues to provide private consultation on an a la carte basis. Currently, she's working with a couple of clients doing their email marketing, social media marketing, e-commerce marketing, managing statewide initiatives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She's also adjunct at MIU for the power of social media marketing, and she is happy to answer all of your questions. Please welcome Phyllis.
I got my own. All right, great. So it's wonderful to see an audience of people that I know. It's a friendly audience, so you'll be kind to me. Not like on social media, you know, when you say something and they attack you in the comments. So I really want this to be a Q&A. I want to answer all your questions, but I do want you to know right away that I created this page on my website. It's a hidden page where I already put a couple of links in there, some resources for you. And if I mention something today particular to you, I will go home and put it on this page later, give you the links and any videos or training or anything that you need. Kevin's going to help me out with that. So if he doesn't write down the notes right, it's all his fault. All right. So I'm also going to say that I'm just one person's opinion here, okay? Even though I sound authoritative and I have a lot of time in there, there's always a chance that I might say something weird, and that's my disclaimer. All right, who's got a question first up off the bat here? I know there are some. Be as specific as you want to. Yes?
From your past experience, what type of marketing mediums is best suited for finance businesses?
For a service business, for finance. And you need people, and it doesn't matter if they live locally to you. They can be online people. Okay. So when you have a business that anybody can be your customer, then it's all about online marketing. Now, if your product or service is just a part of their life, so let's say you have, this is a person's life, and what you offer is just a part of their life, it's just something there, then your best bet is just to do minimal social media, and you should definitely lean into ads. Okay? Don't build communities. Don't try to, don't worry about likes or how many people are following you, because that really doesn't support your business goals, which is customers. Okay?
But then what if I'm selling a necessity like taxes?
Again, it's a service and it's only a part of their lives. Same thing. But here's the thing, and this is an important point. When you post something on social media, there's only 3 ways for that piece of content to reach more people. It either has to be very funny or very informational, like, wow, I had no idea, or very emotional. So when you're putting up a piece of content, think to yourself, does that click any of those boxes? And if it doesn't, then you're not going to get the share. And the share is what increases your reach and reaches more people. A like sort of opens up the algorithm gate, and a comment sort of opens it up, but if you can get the share, that opens it up even bigger. So think how you can create content that's one of those 3 things and still be on point for your business. Okay? What else? Who's got a question? I know you have a question, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I shared with you that post on LinkedIn, right? And I guess someone already brought it up, but how is AI, I mean, it's there's so many ways it's going to impact this. But what are some, tools that you think are working really well, and how can they be integrated into a social media plan?
Sure. I'm a big fan of AI, but I also know that we're in the middle of the messy middle right now, and things are still sorting themselves out. And it will be messy for a while because of copyright issues and all sorts of issues. The AI that's going to do the best is the AI that's integrated into already used services. So when Meta put in the AI and Google put in, the Gemini and everything, those are the ones that are going to be used the most. But I do have a resource in here, and it's called Magi. And Magi takes all the large language models, puts it under one roof, and also the image generators under one roof. So you only have to go to one place to use all the different tools. So in case you want to test things out or see how things work. But as far as using AI, I use AI daily, and I use it in editing. I use it in content creation. I use it in almost everything I do, but I also always edit and go over it. You just have to. So I wouldn't be afraid of using it. I would definitely, absolutely continue to use it. Especially if you're looking for evaluation of things. Like in Magi, you can upload a PDF or 10 PDFs and have it analyze those PDFs for continuing themes or processes, or it can analyze if this is a good idea or not. I mean, all the things. So just use it. Does that answer your question? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're doing an integrated marketing plan and you're trying something, maybe it's relevant for some of the business owners or something who's trying to do something more omni-channel. How do you manage that message and figure out where do I spend my time? And
Yes.
how do I make sure that it's all actually supporting each other?
Yes.
I guess that's a really big question.
Yes, it is. It's a fantastic question. But I like it. I'll kind of split it in half. So it's really important if you're running a business and you need to find more customers. You need to know where those customers are hanging out. That's just the way it is. And you might find that your customers are more on Facebook, or they're more on Instagram, or they're more on YouTube, or they're more on LinkedIn, or they're not, and they're more on the local newspaper. So you have to figure out where your audience is actually looking at things. And I will say right now, an underutilized type of marketing in this town is postcard marketing direct to the house. Hardly anybody does it, but I don't know about you. If I get mail these days, I'm like, look, I have mail. And and I read the whole thing because it's such an odd thing to get. So if you want to reach a local audience, if you have that going on, don't forget about traditional marketing. Don't put all your eggs they'll see me on Facebook, because I'll tell you right now, they don't see you on Facebook. On Facebook, if you're, let's say there's a group, you've started a group on Facebook, and I have a group like this, it's a clients group, and they have 450,000 members in this group. And if we get maybe 20 to 30% of those people seeing our post, it's a good day. It's like a really good day. I don't know if you know the name Amy Porterfield, but she said that a good day is when 70% of your audience does not see your message. So people are not seeing everything that you post on socials. That's why everybody always complains, I didn't know about this event. Well, we posted it on Facebook once. That doesn't work, okay? Because only 1, 2, 3% of those people are going to see your post. And if you don't get the share, you're only going to get that 1 or 2 or 3%. Now, if you can craft the message so that people are compelled to share something, you're going to get a larger viewing audience for sure. Which brings up the point, if you have a business, you need to find yourself a group of people who love you, who are your super fans, and every time you do a post, it's their obligation to go like, comment, and share every post you do to prime the pump, to open the gates of the algorithm for the site. Every business should have this, and not just your mom and dad and friends and real people, okay? So make sure that happens. That should be top of the list for everybody. Yes?
As someone that despises social media, but I realized the necessity of it.
Yes.
Creating content, not a big deal for me. I can do it. But in the very, very beginning stages, is it better to pay to play with Facebook and Instagram, or is it better just to kind of organically grow the audience and just post? That's the other thing. How often do we post?
Yes, all those details.
Yeah.
Well, one underlying principle is you always test. So test everything. Test if posts do well organically, or if you get better reach if you put money in an ad for it. So test it and see if you're reaching more people. And in the ad, make sure you're reaching actual customers and not just a related audience that might not ever walk in your door.
How do you understand the test? Because, I mean, there's eyeballs,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's actual engagement,
Yes,
and then there's,
people coming in the door.
and then people come in the door.
Yeah. So there's this thing called vanity metrics, and vanity metrics are how many people like the page or even like the post. They're not considered business analytics. They're called vanity metrics because they don't really do anything for the business. They don't move the needle for income. So I wouldn't test post based on how many likes you get. Okay, I would base the test on how much increase in income you get during the time you ran the ad or ran a series of posts. So you have to look at your actual business income and check and see if there was a bump at all. And that's how you test it. Yeah, great. All right, any questions on this side of the audience?
What are your favorite tools for sharing to multiple channels?
Yes.
And managing those?
Yes, and that actually comes back to your question again in terms of, do you post the same thing on LinkedIn that you post on Facebook, right? So I have a lot of favorite tools for scheduling. The other problem with that is that I'm not, confident that every schedule will work for you, because there's nothing worse than waking up on a Tuesday morning thinking that everything you scheduled to post yesterday, none of it posted because the system failed for one reason or another. So I always live post or post and schedule natively inside. So you can post and schedule inside of Facebook. You can schedule inside of all of them. But Agora Pulse, I have a sweetness for because they bought my business, so they're one. ClickUp is another one. There's lots of dashboards that you can use for scheduling. Pardon?
What was the first one?
Agora Pulse, and they bought my business, so I like them a lot. Good people. All right, but in terms of should I just post the same thing on Facebook that I do on LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff? I have a client where it's RV lifestyle, and we take their blog posts and put them everywhere. We put them on every site we can find. We put them on, okay, to drive social media traffic. And we modify them slightly based on the social profile. If we're doing something that's like a really weird post, we don't necessarily post it on LinkedIn. If we're doing a post that's all Amazon links, we don't necessarily put that one on LinkedIn, right? So there are certain things that we think are better for certain audiences, and we'll adjust that way. But we're a content machine. We've got 10, 15 posts a day on X, on Facebook, in the group, on LinkedIn. It's all set up through a system called Social Jukebox. And Social Jukebox is very cool because you can create like a jukebox, just like a jukebox, if you're old enough to know what a jukebox is. So you can have a jukebox that's all the Halloween posts that you have, like all your Halloween posts, and you can turn it on and off. So on the 1st of October, you can turn it on, and it'll start posting to all the places. And then at the end of Halloween, you just turn it off. And then next year, you come back in and turn it on again. Okay? So you can have seasonal jukeboxes. You can have promotional jukeboxes. You can have all the things. So that's the system that we use. And that's like a machine, like that does that.
Is it measuring metrics like any analytics too?
Yeah, it has a, and here's the thing. For 10 years, I created reports for my clients, detailed multi-page reports for my clients. Did they look at them? No. Were they only cared about the numbers that really they shouldn't be caring about. They were very concerned about, does anybody like us? And it's like, you shouldn't care about that number. You should worry about income for your business, right? So there are analytics built into all the social media sites that will give you the numbers that you need and you really need to track. But if you're trying to track sales, you can, put UTM codes on your links and track and see if you have a sale from a particular post. It's always a way to track. So you just have to learn a new skill, and it takes a little bit more time. Which brings up another point, time and money. So everybody always says, I don't have time to do all this marketing. Okay, so here's the thing. If you have a business and you need customers, you need to market, period. Now, if you have a lot of time and not a lot of money, you're going to have to learn to do these things and actually make the posts. If you have a lot of money and not a lot of time, then you're going to do ads or you're going to pay for a social media manager. It's just one or the other. Yeah. All right, next question. Yes?
Raising money for nonprofits.
Yes.
How do you go by the small little things and the big ones?
Yes. Well, raising money for nonprofits is a wonderful thing to do and can be done very successfully on social media. You have to become extremely good storytellers, and you need to do the stories in a way that either are funny, awe-inspiring, or emotional. So you have to look at your stories and figure out, how am I missing the mark on one of these three things, and how can I change it? Of course, you don't lie about your story, but there are ways to enhance your story. And so you need to be the storyteller, and you need to learn to see if your audience responds better with text or with video. And then lean into whichever way they respond better. And you can track that. 1 month you do all video and you see if your donations go up. The next month you do all text and see if it changes. Like that. Yes. All right. Questions? Yes.
When would it make sense to hire a social media manager or someone in marketing, depending on your current metrics and the metrics you want to achieve?
Yes. So if you do some social media marketing and you notice you're getting more customers, then your time is being taken up with the more customers. So then that's the point where you go hire a social media manager. Because if they can do those same things for you and bring in more income, then your time can be spent actually running your business. Yes, exactly. You're welcome. Yes?
So I'm on Facebook, and there's these three channels. One is a post, one is a boosted post, and one is an ad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any guidelines of what's the mix? Does it depend on the client, or does it depend on what your goals are? I mean,
Yeah.
What are the decision trees that take you down those roads?
Yes. So this is organic and paid media. So your organic posts, you should always be doing some organic posts just to keep your pages and accounts alive. Don't let them sit for months at a time without anything happening. This is super important. But if you have a post and people are responding well to it, then you might want to consider putting some money behind it to reach more people. Okay? So if you have a post like that, a boosted post is usually not as effective as an ad where you can be a little bit more granular in who the ad is going to be seen by. But also in terms of ads, it's really important that you don't just go in there and try and do this yourself. More people have lost more money trying to do Facebook ads themselves than I can tell you, okay? So use somebody who knows what they're doing and can also set up remarketing ads for you. Because if you have a post that goes to your website for your services and you're getting a lot of people going there, but maybe your conversions aren't as high as you want them to be, then you want to have that code on your website that's remarketing that ad to people in social media so that they see your face or your video or your text again, and then they're reminded, oh yeah, Oh, yeah, you know how that works. You know how remarketing ads work. And so it's really important it's not just boosted post or paid ads, it's remarketing ads. That's really important. Yeah.
For me, having done some of this,
Mm-hmm.
the frustrating thing is the change in the medium itself.
Oh,
The interface
yes.
has changed.
Yes.
And so, if I did this 6 years ago, I'm completely ignorant now.
Yes.
And so how often would you say the interface completely changes where you don't know where you are?
Well, it changed this morning. So I was doing my regular social posting this morning, and I was remembering, I got to show them how to do this thing. And I went to do it, and it didn't work. And I was like, what just happened? Yesterday it worked, today it doesn't work. And then I was just like, I can't believe it, I'll tell you what it is in just a second. And then right before I came here, it was back to the way it was. So I'm like, I give up. Now these platforms, they test things all the time, and they don't tell you you're in part of a test. You just end up finding something different. So what I see on my site is not what you see on your site. So what I was testing was on Threads. Anybody on Threads? Everybody's on Threads. Yes? Threads. Okay. If you're on Threads, if you hold down the icon at the top, it'll all of a sudden open up 2 tabs. One of them is featured and the other is following. And so when you normally open up Threads, it's defaulted to the featured. It's not the people that you followed, not all of it. And so you just tap it, and then you can do the following tab. Well, this morning, it wouldn't work. And it had a menu bar on the right side. And I'm like, they moved it, right? Hit the menu bar, then you get the 2 tabs. Well, when I came here to test it, it's back to the normal way. So I don't know if that answers you, but they change every day.
So, when I'm talking mostly, it's like the back end, like
Yes.
advertising.
Yes.
The whole interface completely moves to another environment.
Yeah.
I would think this would be helpful for you personally, having written a book, which is very frozen in time and space.
Yeah, I have some fun stories about that.
You must have a follow-up website where you help people. But
Yeah.
the worst thing is the training materials done by the people themselves don't match their interface.
Yes, it happens all the time. You'll go to do something and you'll go to Facebook support and the help center is completely wrong, or it won't list what's happening. This is just a fact of social media. But I also, on that page, I put a whole bunch of resources for training in social media. So if you have time and want to learn your own marketing, there's a really good one that Google does. There's a really good one that Meta does. There's Coursera courses. There's lots of courses. You can relearn everything.
You know that. The only problem is sometimes those things are dated.
No, well, these are high level, well done things. So yeah, but we were writing the book, the first Facebook marketing book for dummies, and I was in charge of the pages, like the business pages section of the book, and I remember it was in December, and we had finished. We were sending it to the printer, and Facebook completely revamped the site and made it where you had to log into and everything changed. Like everything in my section was wrong. Everything. We had to basically stop the press. and I had to rewrite all of that in 3 weeks. It was insane. So yes, books are not fun to write for social media. I can guarantee that. Yes.
Well, I've been able to by just doing what I do, develop a fairly decent, following on social media. And reason why this thing is what it is because I
Yes.
do that.
You do a very, very good job on social, Bob.
Well,
You really do.
Well, thank you. I'll send your check now. The actual question in my mind is that I am kind of equal parts social commentator, piss half the people off who
Yes.
read my post, sort of consciously.
Yes.
And proud of it. Social entrepreneur.
Yep.
Occasionally sales guy, hey, you guys,
Right.
get healthier because of us and such.
Right.
And I am going to retain you if you are taking more clients because I realize that I am using 1/4 of 1% of my potential.
Yes.
In terms of the business end of things.
Yes.
But in terms of just general comments about balancing, if you're multiple personalities, if you're
Yes.
totally schizophrenic like me,
Yeah.
what are some of the rules of the road so that you're kind of additive rather than one piece of you subtracting from the other.
Yeah, how many people in here are multi-passionate in terms of, or have several businesses or side hustles along the way? Yes, like all of us, right? So here's the challenge. If you're branding, this is very general. If you're branding yourself, you don't have to worry about this so much because yourself is very diverse. If you are branding a product or a service or a business, it needs to have its own separateness. It needs to have its own social accounts, its own website, its own everything, because good business design is maybe one day you sell the business and you don't want to have to like untangle that from you, right? But if you're branding yourself, everything can be under the umbrella of you. And that's okay. Don't worry about that so much. People know that personality type, and that's okay. Yeah.
Just follow-on question. So, that I had kind of deduced that from reading in my own experience that I'm really branding myself.
Yes.
And he's a bit of an odd duck.
Yes, has everything.
He's all these things, and it's kind of cool, and I like him. And so that's kind of where it is. On the other hand, I have the Shackly business.
Yes.
Which is the way I fund everything that I do.
Right.
And I have found that my attempts at doing business pages and that kind of thing have been like worse than abysmal. I'm like,
Yes. Well, that's where you probably need someone else. And I do want to make mention that at the back of the room, hiding back there, is my son-in-law, Wes, waving his hand. And my daughter and Wes actually do a lot of social media marketing for people who come through me and ask me to do work. And they are very happy to help you with your social media. And they can also come to me and ask me questions anytime. So it's kind of like you get me as a consultant with their services. So, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, yes.
In that context, what is a good ballpark of a marketing budget?
Yeah, everybody asks me, well, how much is it going to cost me? So here's the thing. It depends on how many social sites, if you already have content or if content has to be created, if you already have video but it needs to be edited. There's like a lot of variables, right? So it could be anywhere from $500 a month to $5,000 a month, okay? Depending on also the expertise of the people that are coming to play with this, and maybe they add consulting or business strategy on top of their services. So it's a big range, depending on what you need. So when you work with the social media manager, you need to come to them and say, look, we want to increase our sales with this. What would you suggest? And then the social media manager is going to say, well, you should do this, 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 and that, and this is how much it's going to cost. And then you can negotiate from there. Okay?
So what if you're not trying to do sales per se, right? But if you're trying to get, well, let's be more specific. So how many, two questions. Do you need to have a new channel for Instagram, for example, if you wanted to get into like affiliate partnerships? Or like how many like average likes or something? How much, I know you said don't follow it, but like they're looking at engagement, right? So like how much engagement do you need to have before you start approaching brands and saying like, hey, so like it's chicken and egg. Like on the one hand, if I have that content I'm getting paid for, like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's like, okay, well,
all right.
I don't have enough. Like, so where's that balance? Like, how many do you need to get to? Or you're like, okay, organically, I'm doing this. I'm not even doing any marketing. And then, like, okay, how do I get to now like 150,000 followers?
Yeah. So we've entered the world of influencer marketing. So now we're going into that door. And if you could put on my little notepad, influencer marketing, and I can put a whole bunch of links in there. And every social site, pretty much right now, has creator account funds where they actually pay creators to bring engagement and traffic to the site and through their brand deals. And a lot of social sites actually have like these little brokerage areas where a influencer can come in and say, hey, this is my audience and this is how many people I have, and brands can contract with them through this brokerage thing. So influencer marketing is kind of cool. I just saw this statistic, kind of blew me away. There's 1 million people in the United States who make a full-time living being an influencer. And I'm like, what? So here's the thing about being an influencer. If you're going to be an influencer, then you really need to go all in. And at first, you'll be what's called a micro influencer because your audience is small, but you need to develop an audience that's responsive. You need to really collect people who click the buttons, because that's what brands want, is they want an audience to click over and buy. And I don't know about you, but if I'm on Instagram and I see an ad, oh my God, I want the thing so bad, because these influencers are so good at video marketing. So you have to be good at video marketing. And it really harkens back to the 80s, like, buy this thing from me. It feels like so weird to see millennials like being like from the 80s. It's like, what is going on here? But it's crazy. But they're making money. They're making like money. But you have to be all in. You have to pick a niche. You have to collect people who love to click. And then you can market yourself to these brands. And then I have a client that, you know, if they want a video with this guy just mentioning for 90 seconds their brand, it costs them $5,000 to do that. So, and we have to turn people away because they're not good fits for his brand, right? So it has to be a match. Influencer marketing, we could talk about that for like freaking ever, but yeah, yeah, it'd be fun.
Because
Yes.
look at all the people here. There's so many potential influenced marketers here. I mean, they really, when you look at this.
You could, yeah. Everybody here could be an influencer marketer. I don't know if everybody has the stamina for it.
That's what I was going to say. We had one word of caution. Because I feel
Yes.
like a lot, especially a lot of kids.
Yes.
And they all know the influencers better than they know the movie stars.
Yes.
And it's true. And they all want to be an influencer.
Yes.
And it's like, well, do you really want to work 7 days a week?
Well, they don't have to like burn out or work hard. They just have to be smart. But here's the thing: is they have to be consistent. That is the name of the game. It means consistently creating content. One of my clients, YouTuber, videographer, you know, all the thing, podcaster, everything. He and I started our YouTube channels at the same time, back in 2009. But he posted a video twice a week for the last 12, how many years, and I didn't. And he has 200,000 people subscribed, and he makes thousands of dollars a month, and I don't. So it's very important, that consistency thing, even for new influencer marketers. They have to just like have a plan, and they just stick to it no matter what the results are for at least a year or two. So, yeah. I had a question back here, yeah.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on email marketing.
Yes.
Because I
Yay.
think it's a little obnoxious, or it can be. Like, I've signed up for different courses and stuff, and then they just bombard my inbox, and I don't get around to reading that stuff, but I can see the benefits of it as well.
All right, so here's the fun part. If you do a social media post and you probably have 3% see it. If you send out an email, industry average is 30% see it. And they actually open it and read it. So everybody who has a business should have an email list, and you should be moving people from your social media to your email. This should be a machine. This should be a machine, because even with a 30% open rate and a 1 to 2% click-through rate, you still make more money in email marketing than you do with a direct sale in social media. Okay? Very important. You do branding and marketing and awareness and develop an audience on social, but you sell on email. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Why do companies think it's a good idea to send me those emails every day?
As someone who has a client that does a daily email, I can tell you it's because they get a 30% open rate with a 1 to 2% click-through rate every day. And because they go to a website with Google ads on it, make thousands of dollars a month with that machine. So that's why. Because they realize that they can, the day that they don't send the email out, they don't make their $500 to $1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my businesses, we have a very good email list, but we also absolutely despise getting the emails every day or every 5 minutes. So we do it consistently once every 2 weeks. And as soon as we send that one email out, and it also has content that is of value. It's not just come buy our crap. It's like, here's a recipe, here's how to do this, a story.
I have not subscribed to yours.
Yeah, exactly. So we do keep our audience. It doesn't, it generates income every 2 weeks.
Yes.
And it's an obvious problem.
Have you tried to do it weekly?
We did around the holidays, yes.
And did it move the needle for income?
It did, but it took away from the other every 2 weeks. So basically, we sent out one extra email that cost us a little bit of money to produce the content for it, but it averaged out the overall sales. So if we pump out more emails, it's just going to stretch out that one-time bump.
That's what I mean about knowing your data. If that's the data and you know it, then you can, and testing is important for this. And that's why I said, have you tried it? Because I would assume that there would be more income with a once a week email. And I actually look forward to those once a week emails. Like, oh, it's Friday, I'm going to get such and such. So, and those emails are compelling, right? So you have to, again, make them compelling. But if you don't notice an actual increase in income with that test, then I wouldn't do it. Yeah. Sorry.
The weird thing about seasonality, you kind of mentioned it, like, and I'm not a professional marketer, but I've done different interesting marketing things before. And internally, you have people who don't know much about it, and you got to get a budget approved, and they're like, well, I heard this ad only costs this much. And you're like, yeah, but you want to do this at Christmas, dude. Like, and so like, can you mention a little bit about like how big that range can be? Because I mean, it can be massive, right? I mean,
yes.
$1 versus $20.
Yes. So here's the thing about ad costs, and I'm going to mention YouTube for this because I was just in some analytics for YouTube. On YouTube, they have how much an advertiser pays per 1,000 views. So you might have a video where the advertisers are paying $35 for every 1,000 views on your video, or you might have advertisers pay $4 for every 1,000 views on your video. And you can find those in your YouTube analytics if you want to go look for them, if you're a partner with YouTube. But the thing is that what advertisers view as important enough to spend more money on is things that make other people money, if that makes sense. Like if there's a video that says how to make money work camping, advertisers pay more to be on that video because people are trying to figure out how to make money. So if it's how to clean out your black tank on an RV, there's hardly any advertisers who want to spend a lot of money because it's nothing that they have product or services for. Okay, so, but in terms of ad costs, it's based on where they think they can place your ad and how often they can place it. So this is deep, algorithm things that only Meta can figure out, right? So if you go to place an ad in Meta, the price that you pay is going to vary based on your audience, based on what type of ad you have, and how many places you're placing it. So it's totally variable. You can set yourself a budget, and then that's the nice thing about Meta ads is you can say, I only want to spend $50 a day, and they will figure out a way to get it in front of as many people as possible because they want you to make money so you will buy more ads. So they're going to try hard to get it in all the right places. But like I said, I wouldn't try to do this yourself, honestly. Yes?
Phyllis, is there sometimes a lag, let's say Galen's experience is once a week, more sales, but if you look at it on the average, it averages out. Might that change if he persisted in that once a week for a period of time? Have you seen that? Have you seen that dynamic?
I would say that if he could figure out a way to move more people from social to his email list, and if he adds 1,000 more people to his email list, to try it once a week. So because then you have a bigger audience to test it. But I would try whatever it takes to get more people on your email list, because even if you only send it out every 2 weeks, you're still going to make more money with more people on your list. So that to me is like, that's the machine you need to create from social.
Is that the metric rather than sales? A powerful metric is how many people you can add to your email list.
Yes. Adding to your email list is a valuable number to know. Very important. Have I overwhelmed anybody yet? It's really important in terms of social media marketing and email marketing and influencer marketing and all that. It's all marketing. And it's really important, if you have a business, you spend time figuring out how to reach more people. And I saw this one time, it says 40% of your time needs to be in marketing. And if you're always inside building your product or your service, but nobody knows about it, you're not going to have a successful business. So you really have to think about the marketing. And it doesn't have to be crazy, weird stuff like you see on Instagram or YouTube and stuff. It can just be good, solid, fun, interesting information. So, all right, how are we doing for time, Alex? Ooh, good.
Time for one last question.
Sure.
Could you talk about differences between B2B versus B2C?
There's also H to H, which is human to human. And I think a lot of people are preferring to have the lens of human to human, because even if it's B2B, there's a human behind the buying process. So if you're doing B2B, you still need to figure out where your audience is, where they hang out as people, but also as businesses. So it just takes a little deeper dive into it. And also think more about industry podcasts, being a guest on an industry podcast. And just a tip on that is sometimes podcast hosts have a whole system of how to get people in as guests, but sometimes they're bombarded with requests. And so what you have to do is you have to look at their past guests, find somebody that you know that will introduce you to the host. And that's
happening to me right at
yes, good. And that's exactly how you get on podcasts that you really want to be on, like that. So podcasts is another underutilized advertising, free advertising.
This was extraordinarily informative. Let's
thanks.
thank you very much. Phyllis, this is great.
Thank you.
This is great.